Welcome back to another episode of Oblivious Maximus. I'm your host, Ben Searle. Join me as always is Aaron Osborne. How are you, mate?
So good. I'm the other host of this show.
Yep. That's how it works.
The two of us. A couple raging hot guests today. We got Josh and Pondy from Secret World.
What's going on?
Thanks for coming through.
That's a good introduction.
Yeah.
Maybe more than we deserve, but it's appreciated.
And we have the most peanut gallery we've ever had in here today too. So a full crowd.
So we have also from Secret World, Adrian Kelly and Duck Stacey from Life.
Duck Stacey from my relationship. You go, Ben.
How was the show last night?
It was really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really sick. We were looking forward to Melbourne and it had sold well, obviously, so we were psyched on that. But yeah, it was good to see the Koyo boys back rocking at full force.
Sick.
Unfortunately, Joey had been a bit...
Yeah, what happened? He got food poisoning or something?
Yeah, not too sure, but he was like pretty. He looked fucking pretty crook at that Canberra show. But to his credit, he powered through. Like it was insanely impressive.
It was impressive.
Yeah, he got through it, and then yesterday, I guess, just the excitement. It looked like you'd never be able to tell he was.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit, but got sort of suckered into the front bar chat, which tends to happen at shows. But watching a couple of those videos today, like the bit that I watched yesterday was clearly not like the peak of the set. Yeah. And then I saw a couple of videos and I was like, I'm fucking going off in there. The boys were.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about like the stage lights, like, makes you better for a brief period.
Oh, yeah.
I recently had food poisoning in Brisbane.
Oh, yeah.
And vomited 2 minutes before going up on stage.
Oh, shit.
Did the show pouring with sweat. And then I think Mick said to me, he's like, your face was like this. And then you got off stage and you just dropped. Clearly just had that 30 minutes in you and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sick. It sounds like it was a good show.
Yeah.
It was fucking mad.
And the other shows so far have been pretty good too?
Yeah, they've been fantastic. I think for us, it's our first kind of run out of Sydney. I mean, it's our first time playing.
Well, I think Kelly and I were talking. This is the first time that you're not the Crowbar Sydney house band.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Which, shout outs to Trav, we love being the Crowbar Sydney house band for the record, so please don't stop giving it to us.
Keep doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been really good. And obviously, we just put a couple songs out and seeing people already knowing the words and stuff like that has been really cool. So it's been exciting. And yeah, what better way to do it than with Koyo on the road as well, which has been really good. They're legends. So
yeah. How did the band come about? How did it start? When did the idea sort of get
Want
going?
me to take this on?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, for sure. I'll interject whenever.
Yeah. Keep me honest, because I might talk some shit.
You're better at talking than me.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's
you just
bad.
fact check.
Yeah, he'll fact check me. He's good at that.
No one will believe me there. I have to show too much working.
Yeah, sidebar. JC's been saying that a lot recently. He says that I'm more believable on first approach, whereas JC really has to show his working. So anyway, hopefully you don't have to show too much working. But Josh and I have been friends obviously for quite a while now, and we just kicked around the idea of doing a band. Sort of said we want it to sound like, I'm a big fucked up head, so I was like, we should do a band that sounds like Fucked Up. And Josh was like, yeah, cool. And then what if it also sounded like a bunch of other bands that we're obviously taking influence from, and we just knew we wanted it to be rocky and melodic, but we didn't really have much beyond that.
Yeah.
And we sort of had a few goes at it. We got different people in to jam and we couldn't quite get a solid lineup together. People were busy. It's we'd ask someone and they're like, yeah, I'm in 4 other bands. I'm kind of good on that.
Moving to England or moving to Melbourne. That's it.
Well, all good. So we had those jams and off you go. But yeah, and we also obviously hadn't really developed stuff. We're still trying to figure it out. So we couldn't really go to people and be like, hey, this is the band. But yeah, so then we worked on it and we did the demo. Pretty much just me and you and Matto.
Yeah. Well, the demo probably would not have happened if it wasn't for Matto. Matto was we needed a guitarist and we asked Matto and he said, yeah. And then we had all these, these bedroom demos and shit. And then he's like, well, when are we going to do it? And I'm like, oh, fuck. I guess we hadn't really, we had never really gotten that far. I was like, all you guys have to do is just record it.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it out. Okay, cool. So if it hadn't been for him, it'd probably still be like a 2 a.m. At the end of the night, fuck.
We'd honestly still we'd still be talking about the songs.
Fuck, it'd be so good.
Yeah. No, Matto was, I remember he was like, okay, so I'm going to book us in for recording on this date. And me and you were like, oh shit. Okay. And Matto really pressed it along. And then Chaz drummed on the demo. So we didn't even have a drummer at that point. It was just me, Josh, and Matto.
Yeah.
And then we sort of got Kelly and Cheddar involved through an opportunity.
Kelly forced himself into the band. We were at a show.
Fact check one.
And fact check. We're at a show, and then we're talking about it, and Kelly's like, I already got this band, like, I'm playing bass. And they're like, oh, Dennis kind of was already playing bass. Like, nah, fuck Dennis. He's not doing it. And Dennis was right there as well. And like, oh,
This sounds like a very Adrian Kelly story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's, I mean, you know.
Nothing if not on brand.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, I guess Dennis can play guitar. Like, that'd be cool, 3 guitars. And Kelly's like, I'll play and I'll bring a drummer. I'm like, all right, sweet. And then that was it.
Yeah.
Then we got Cheddar.
And then we got Cheddar. And then you know, after we'd put the demo out too, then we started to get some interest from people that we'd already asked. They were like, oh, the demo's sick. And I was like, well, not only is the roster full, we got 3 guitarists now, so there is no room unless you can play fucking harmonica or something.
That is kind of the way, isn't it? Like when you start getting some momentum, people are like, actually, it's sick what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, like Josh said,
Had to show working. You know?
Yeah.
had to show
I
working.
believed there was good, you know.
Yeah. And like, you know, Josh and I come up, well, me mostly, with some crackpot ideas, you know what I mean? So I think that it showed that, oh shit, they're actually going to do it. And we did it.
Yeah.
So credit to us, but most of the credit to Matto for being like, there's a deadline and the songs need to be done and we need to get it done.
Often you just need a deadline, hey, just to get your ass into gear.
100%.
I got so many like vids, I'm like, I'm going to put this out soon. No deadline. It's not happening.
Yeah, if no one tells you,
I mean, that's like getting this podcast sort of restarted was like, it wouldn't have happened had Ben not gone, hey, I got this studio space we can use. And then I was like, all right, we'll just book it. And then it begins.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. It's just like, well,
As
it's
long as
booked in.
the booking system is active,
We'll keep doing the podcast. Yeah, without the booking system, this podcast goes down the toilet immediately. So, as someone who's been in a multiple guitar player band, sickest thing in the world, second band you've now been in that has 3 guitars, which is funny. But how do you go writing for 3 guitars? Do you plan it out, or is it just you just added other stuff when you had a 3rd guitar player?
No, it was always kind of like that. I feel like when most people write music or whatever, there's often more than however many parts that you record, you know, that you have members to play or whatever.
Yeah.
So when Kelly forced himself to play bass, and I was like, oh, 3 guitars could work, because then we could probably play essentially everything that's been recorded.
Yeah.
And then that's just. So I didn't do it on purpose. It was just sort of like, sweet, that kind of is a little happy accident that sort of worked out.
Well, I mean, I remember like the thing in I Exist was we put 3-part harmonies on the songs because we were like, this sounds so cool when you do like the blues one, then the next one up, and then the 3rd one in the middle, and it was like, this is the best thing ever. And then it just made that, like, then after we had 3 guitar players, then it just made it so much more stupid because then every song had them. Because it was like, every time there's a blues riff, we're going to have the 3-part harmony now.
Now it's available. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
You got to use them if you got them, right?
Yeah.
Let them work.
And also, I didn't really know how to write like any vocal melodies or anything like that. So I just tried to like cram as much melody into it as possible with like different guitar bits to make it more melodic, I guess. Because I was like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't write a vocal melody.
How do you go writing vocal stuff like that? Because obviously this is kind of is this the first time you've done something like this? I mean, because obviously you sing in Downside as well.
Yeah, singing's a bit of a reach, but yeah. Throat.
But that has some level of melody to it every now and then.
Yeah, it does.
Not as much as this, obviously.
No, yeah, and I think also like I don't want to say deliberately off key, but it's always been a bit weird, I guess. Like, and working with Elliot on that, like when we do those clean bits, it was tough, to be honest with you. Like, and there's only like one every now and then.
Sure.
So yeah, from a vocal perspective, it was very new territory for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never done anything like this before. So it was interesting. And when we were writing it, I don't know, the vocal stuff kind of came out naturally. Like, I think I'm okay at thinking about what I want to do and how I want it to sound and what I want the melody to be. It was just the execution that was tough.
Right. Okay.
And in that regard, like when we did the demo with Elliot, because I'd worked with Elliot with Downside for so many years, and he has the absolute patience of a saint with me, and has always been very liberal with his time. So thank you, Elliot, if you're listening to this. It made it a lot easier. You know, we worked on it, and he obviously contributed in making sure that the melodies that I had in my head made sense and that kind of thing. But it's still a work in progress, honestly. Like I find it difficult, but it's been rewarding to do something different and also to kind of like practice the craft.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in Downside, it's like, whatever, have 12 beers and get up and yell at people. You know, like, no one, like, and honestly, like, the worse I am, the better, maybe. But, you know, like, in Secret World, it's fully different. I'm sitting outside in the car doing the humming and the mums and the vocal ups and stuff like that, which has been helpful. So yeah, it's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. I'm feeling a lot better and more confident than I was when we started.
Yeah, sick. I mean, it sounded great last night. Like, I mean, and obviously I hadn't seen you guys before.
Yeah.
Other than Kelly sending me songs and me seeing the videos on the internet, but like, the 3 guitar parts actually came through like very well.
Sick. Nice.
And particularly even the like, you know, the sort of, I guess, higher melody stuff that you were doing.
Yeah.
Like that was like ripping through, which is awesome. Because like, I think that's the thing that sometimes sound guys can get like very panicked by is like, well, who's the main guitar player? Like we need that one. And again, that was like this ongoing battle I always used to have was like, who do we need to hear? And then Josh, our older guitar player, played so many guitar solos that they just assumed that he should be the loudest because of guitar solos. But then he would like forget all the riffs in the song and it'd be like, turn him down. Just turn him up when the solos come. Like, but you know, I would forget riffs too. That's like,
I forget everything all the time. You know? I hate playing leads, but Matter refuses.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you loved it.
No, it's just a necessary evil.
You've written them, now you got to do them.
And that's it. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that.
You don't like playing the wobbly guitar?
No, that's fun.
Oh, okay.
But it comes with a certain level of stress that I don't care for.
Yeah, right.
Because going is easier than going like
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
you play one wrong bung note and you're the highest guy.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
like,
good point. Yeah.
Well, that
sick guitar, dude. Nice one, mate. Sounds exactly like the fucking record.
well, I mean, that was the thing I was going to say too. The difference in a band like this to playing in like heavier bands or whatever is like everything generally in heavier bands gets kind of covered over by the pit or like the pace that the song is or how heavy it is or whatever. So you can kind of get away with fucking up. But like when a band is clean and when like clean singing too, like you have nothing to hide. Like it's just like
it's interesting you say that because there's like a couple of little tricks I sort of have started to work out where like I can because the verses have that yelly feel to it, which also is like a tricky thing transferring from that into the choruses that are more clean. But I have studied like a few of the bands that kind of are in the similar sound thing that we do to where you can, if you are fully out of breath or like just going through it, phone it in just a tiny bit to make it a little bit easier on yourself. But I agree with you. It's like, if you're going to go for that, no, you have to go for it.
Oh, yeah.
And hit it.
Yeah, and I feel like most people don't realize. Like, I feel like you hear a lot of stuff that I am simply not, like at Parkway, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, I heard a bunch of bum notes and I was just like, fire. like I just like don't know as well. Like, and even coming from playing in a band.
I think it's just like, it's stuff you pay attention to. And I think like the thing for me at that Parkway show that I was like particularly was so stoked.
Was it sick? It looked
it
crazy.
was fucking mental.
It was fucking nuts.
Yeah, it was awesome. And like my first assumption was like, they're so big, they're playing this crazy stadium, all this fire, gotta be a backing track. Like no way they can be all playing, like, which I just accept. Like at that level, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And then they got up there and like first song I heard like 2 bung notes on the guitar and I was like, they're not playing to a backing track.
Yeah.
And then I got like so much more invested and like, fuck, they're playing so sick and there's fire everywhere and like they're going up and down in an elevator thing and like, so I mean, hearing that stuff was like, that's when it's sick. And I mean, same thing. I remember a zillion years ago going to see Ozzy Osbourne. And he was like pitch perfect. And I was like, no way this cunt can sing like this anymore. Like, this has got to be a joke.
With
and
the
then
teleprompter.
exactly. But then he came back and they did that Sabbath reunion thing. And Kelly and I went to it. Thanks, Duck, for the birthday tickets. And all that was going through my head is like, we're going to be hearing like Black Sabbath playing and Ozzy Osbourne's backing track over top of it.
Yeah.
But then I read this thing that apparently the contractual agreement for the rest of Black Sabbath agreeing to do the tour was Ozzy had to sing. Like they were like, you're not doing a backing track.
Yeah, right.
You're not having a guy backstage. Like you are singing. And sure enough, he was singing. It's like second note in, he's like, but to me, I'm like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see.
You want to see the CD?
Yeah, I can watch a music video at home, but like, I want to see this old cunt try his hardest and maybe fuck up a little bit. You know?
That's awesome.
So records, releases are out, videos out. How did that all, like the video looks pretty sick. Who did that for you?
Rudsy, of course.
Yeah.
Sydney Shit Productions.
Sydney Shit Productions.
Rudsy, it was Rudsy and Jem, like from Speed.
Yeah.
Obviously, he helped a lot, like in the lead up to it and helping me sort of gather the idea I had and make it actually like, okay, well, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
So you don't run out of time and so you know exactly what you're doing, because on the day, even if when it's perfectly planned, you'll still kind of not know what the fuck you're doing anyway. So like, make it as like...
And something will fuck up, like the sun will be in a weird spot and then you'll have to, like...
Yeah, or you're like, oh, it'll only take like 15 minutes to get there and then only spend half an hour, and then it's like, oh, you're in Sydney, so it's a half an hour to get to there, and then you're like, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anyway, so like you're doing weird shit with your hands, and I'm just like, nah, mate, we got to do that again because you look weird, like you're freaking out. Like,
I thought I was doing cool shit with my hands.
yeah. We put the cool shit in.
Yeah. There's a bit of weird stuff with the hand.
Few outtakes. When's the blooper reel coming out?
Oh, the blue. Yeah, I don't know if people have enough time in the day to watch the blue.
It's a full length movie.
Yeah. That's the real movie.
I got to jump in here though and shout out Josh, because Josh, he humbly didn't say, but he did a lot of work on the clip. Like it's filling out the treatment.
True.
Treatment. Is that what they call it?
I guess so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It's the treatment in the industry they call it, which is basically just like a huge ass Google Slides thing. So I'd be like, I'd be in the chat like, oh, cool if we filmed here, and Josh would be like, is it in the slides? Are there map locations? Is there photos in there? Why do you think it's sick? And I'd be like, I just kind of thought it'd be, and then I'd think about it and be like, would that work? And I'd go into turmoil over it. I'd be like, does it deserve to be in the treatment? Should we go there? But no, like it made the day so much better, and it made sure that like we got everything that we wanted, and we were really thoughtful about it. Because I just saw it like, you just rock up with the camera. And
but again, that was all Jem and Rudsy really helping me.
Yeah.
And then on the day, we did it over like a weekend, and it was cool. Yeah, and then we got like a bunch of like our friends and stuff to be in it too. Which was really sick that they were willing to take time out of their day to help us out.
Yep.
And help bring our little vision to life.
Yeah. I mean, I think when it's really funny doing that stuff, because like I think if you don't have that structure, I mean, you learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the first I Exist music video we did was just like, we invited all of our friends to the place where we jammed, which was just our drummer's house, and we just got so pissed and we're like, all right, John, start filming. And then we were just in this room filming for like probably 12 hours, and you can just see, as the video goes along, you can see the parts that were filmed at the start of the day, because everyone's like moving around heaps and really into it. And then the ones that are like midnight and people are like, and I think there's one shot of Jake singing and he like one eyelid blinks, but the other one doesn't. And it's like, how drunk was, and I think you look and I'm in the background and I'm like not even playing the riff. I'm just like,
that's sick though, because that's like, I don't know, that's the song, coming out in the video and like actually being like, yeah, this is what it
and I
is,
remember at the time all of us being like, no, that's not the right cymbal hit. Like that's a ride, not a hi-hat, being like really focused on worrying about it. Yeah. And then now in hindsight, I'm just like, why did I give a fuck? We're all so drunk. Like,
there were bigger problems at hand.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people are looking at. Not like, oh no, that was a ride instead of a hi-hat. Yeah. Like and no one's going to notice that.
The boring cunt's going to go,
lame.
The crash.
So what's coming up post this tour? I mean, first playing interstate really type shows.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of a plan in place? I mean, the other thing too, obviously a bit hard, having some people, yourself included, who play in other bands and stuff too. What's kind of like the idea from here with you guys?
Well, we got that 7. We got a 7-inch coming out
Yeah.
in November on Last Ride Records and Sunday Drive Records. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's only 2 more tracks to be released, but we got that. Then we're doing that Speed Christmas show with
me,
yourself.
Extortion.
Yeah, a couple beers out the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be so sick.
Can't wait for that Manning Bar balcony to really give it a workout.
Yeah, do a real
The smokers at Manning Bar.
late aughts, early 10s era Manning Bar. I mean, it probably will look like that with the people that are there.
Yeah, truly will. Yeah, it'll be like one of those shows for sure.
And then like we'll try. I think we're kicking around the idea of doing a release show, but we haven't really sort of locked that in. So potentially do a release show, and then I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Yeah, sick.
Nothing too immediately.
Yeah,
but we'll scheme.
Yeah, nice.
Just playing heaps more shows.
Yeah,
it's so good to be playing the new songs. Like
yeah.
We just want to play as much as we can.
And are you just going to try and manage with fill-ins and things like that?
It's worked surprisingly well.
Like,
we got Hollands from Downside, and every other band in Newcastle filling in for Dennis.
Yeah,
for the run that started on Wednesday, and then when Dennis was still here when I was away, so Hollands was playing all my bits.
Yeah.
So Hollands knows how to play probably more of the songs than I do, which is sick.
Yeah.
At this point, you honestly need a spreadsheet to figure out who played what on this tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Cheddar played a couple of shows,
He
right?
played the first 3, and then now we've got Dean.
Yeah.
You got like a skill table.
Yeah. We want to take like a school photo at the end of the year,
Yes.
like the class of this
That's
year.
sick. I would love to see that.
Just like for everyone that's like either helped us out in one way or another,
Yeah, that's
and
sick.
like maybe do that every year if we because we're gonna get more.
Yeah,
more
we should
people
get some other
coming
punches
in.
involved.
Yeah.
Maybe none of us should play a show, and then we just get a whole.
Oh,
separate
we
lineup.
could do the MF Doom thing.
Yeah.
The imposter.
You got it.
You know?
That was the other, like, over the many years I exist. No one member of the band has played every show.
Yeah.
Like everyone has missed a show, which is like so funny that no one has ever played. And I was always the constant for the longest time, and then we did a tour and I couldn't do one of the shows, and I was like, and all of them messaged me and were like, we didn't know how to start the songs. Like we didn't know we loaded in wrong. Like all this
Dad was missing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but yeah, getting to the point of like the band being an entity, not tied to any one person.
Exactly,
like that's where it gets to.
Which we think is so sick. And again, like shouts to Dean and Hollands for stepping up and coming on the tour, because they've been absolutely great. Like traveling, Holland's been traveling down from Newey for practices and stuff. And he was even going back to back, like he'd do 6 to 9 The Secret World, then 9 to 12 with Migraine.
Oh, brutal.
Same studio. And then, back on the highway up home, which is crazy. Like, Hollands is nothing if not dedicated to hardcore music.
I don't like going 10 minutes
like
in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like, I guess the other thing too, then, doing all the stuff with Elliot, I think he then obviously is, created a level of impact to the songs themselves too. And so is that something like, that you see as like crucial to the sound of the band now?
Well, Elliot did the demo, and then we did the 7-inch with Fletcher Matthews, who also he was like a massive help as well, like in helping us, like what Elliot did for the demo, he did for the 7-inch as well. So he really helped us make like sense of like vocal melodies and refining the structure and all that sort of stuff as well. But yeah, like I would say that Elliot and Fletch are just as important as anyone else has been in the band.
Yeah, sick.
To make it what it is, like same as like, Rudsy and Jem for the video. Like that video would have been, I shudder to think how bad that video would have been if it hadn't been for them.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing. Everything that's coming out is looking really slick, looks cool. Like,
Thank you.
Got the Triple J hookup. Coming along.
That's pretty cool. I guess we're just, we're old enough and been doing this long enough to be like, I don't want to be in a fucking shit band again.
Yes.
Not that any band I was in was shit, but like,
I've been in plenty of shit bands. So.
I don't know. I've been in a few.
I mean,
I'm still in one, and it's not Secret World.
I mean, I guess that was more than I'd drive by other people, but
I'm drive by myself. And my band members.
but yeah, I know it's just like we've made all the mistakes. At least I'm sure we'll make some more, but we'll make some new ones. But I feel like we've all made the mistakes and being like, well, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's why don't we do it properly first rather than spending all this money on something that we know will probably be bad or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's very funny too because someone recently was asking about the extortion stuff and was just like, oh, how do you go in with the idea? I was like, none of these ideas are mine. Like I got nothing to do with that. But I was like, the thing that I feel like I contribute the most to that is like being organized and being able to go like, no, I don't think we should do that because why would we do that?
Yeah.
Like, let's just do this thing instead. That is what the band should do.
Yeah.
Because the band has been around for ages and people like it. Don't just do whatever first dumb thing comes across the line,
Yeah. Josh is going to hate this, but it takes a village, Josh.
We talked
about the big photo.
Village.
Like that's what it seems like. A band really does need a ton of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And like what you were saying earlier about like Fletch and Elliot, like for me, even going forward, like whoever we do the next record with or whatever, like just having them look at my vocals and Fletch with how we structured the songs and stuff like that. Like you can't say it hasn't fundamentally changed how we look at the music we write.
Yeah.
Which is so important. Yeah. And I think it's crazy to me because just to see them, like you go in and you think, oh yeah, we're recording these songs. That's what they do. They record and produce. And I'd never really, Elliot with Downside had done that as well. But for this, it was so out of my comfort zone that to have someone be like, actually, have you thought about doing like this or do it like that? And it's just fully changed the way I think about the way I approach it.
Yeah.
So it's just so vital. Like, but then every part's just as important. And like the organization thing, like you, Matto, have like really been on your shit about it, and it's been great. Like to know that things are planned out properly, and we're executing because it's like what as you said, like fuck, we've done enough of whatever, play whatever shows.
Yeah.
And, do it this way, do it that way. Like it's good to think about it, which is cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Is it similar in comedy? How does it go being like the one person in charge?
Yeah.
It's taken a while to like get to that point. Like, but I guess coming from playing in bands and being the last band I played in, I was the organizer and like was fucking updating the spreadsheet. Like we are playing this show or whatever.
Yeah.
So being able to do that stuff for myself has taken time. I feel like this year is where it's kind of clicked in. Like I would get to a period in a month where I was like, I don't have any fucking gigs. What's going on? And then now I'm trying to get better at like in my calendar, it's like book gigs for this week in 6 weeks and shit like that. And I've got like a little interstate run that's been planned for like a while.
Yeah.
And like the bones of like going to Perth for the first time, stuff like that. So it's taken a while to like be the driver of that, but now I'm getting to the point with other comedians of trying to like band together and going like, this is such a solo pursuit.
Yep.
It is actually a pain in the ass to do it by yourself. So
sure.
we're trying to like make content together and stuff like that. And, we all want to like make videos and it's like, it's fucking so embarrassing holding that camera yourself. Like, you got to hand that to someone else to like make shit. But it also, like you said, working with other people that like friends of mine that are better script writers and go like, oh, have you thought about this or structuring it like this? And you're basically swapping your skills and it's like, I know how to like edit videos. So I'm helping the other crew do that stuff.
Yep.
So it's, it does feel very lonely sometimes. And then other times you're like, well, you are still surrounded by people all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Which like, similar thing for us, I guess, with like Last Ride, with that, like, I feel like we have a community of kind of like like-minded people who all have different talents and stuff. And in the past, like, I think because we didn't have like a big chat where everyone would like talk about what they're doing and you just wouldn't know, or, bands would stay in their own lanes. So I think for you, like, as you said, like getting in that community and building that and being like, what are you good at? What am I good at? Like, how do we...
And I think in general, in Australian entertainment, more broadly, there is like this scarcity mindset of like, we're competing with each other.
Yeah, I don't want to give away the secret sauce.
Yeah. Like, you're like, nah, I don't have that contact for you. I'm not going to give it. But it's like we're talking about, cliches. It's like rising tides kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It is so true.
Yeah.
And it's like, if one thing's going good, everyone else around it will kind of, their bands will start doing good or those comics will start doing good because it's like most people don't go like, oh, I like this one comic and that's it. I like this one band and that's it. Generally, you're like all of us, we heard some band growing up and you're like, fuck, I'll check out who they're playing shows with.
Yeah.
I'll check
Yeah,
out that.
for sure.
And that's like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
And I think that's been like a huge change, certainly in like Australian music, I think, or like alt heavy stuff or whatever, from when I first started playing it. I think at the time when I first got into it, it was like super competitive. Like it was like, oh, if you don't, you got to try and beat someone out to get the local support for whoever or whatever. And now it's like no one gives a fuck and everyone's friends with everyone. So like everyone just gets psyched when someone does it.
Yeah.
And then
It does feel
all
like
goes,
that
you know?
Australian tall poppy thing is starting to go away. It's still there, but I think it's not as bad as I remember it being when I was younger or like
yeah. I think the other thing too is people being like more friendly with one another and like everyone
Yes.
being involved with one another. It's very different.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but definitely the shift after COVID or with it. It feels like the shift is people like, we all just want to do this.
Yeah.
So, like, let's just help each other. And it's, like, way better.
Yeah.
It's more fun,
Oh, absolutely.
and the music's better, and it's, yeah.
But I would say even like the tour that you guys are doing right now, like Matt's done a good job as well as like putting hardcore bands on those
Yeah,
shows
absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
So not just having it be all melodic bands.
Yeah.
Like he's still involving the group that inherently otherwise helps boost it all up. you know?
Exactly. Well, I
For
mean,
sure.
it's all like we're not a hardcore band sonically.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way we run it and the way where we've come from.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know, we fall under that hardcore adjacent or whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah.
You're under the banner.
Yeah,
we're under the
exactly,
banner,
yeah.
yeah.
So like Koyo, like, you know, they might not sound like a hardcore band, but they're all hardcore dudes and
Yeah.
they run it like a hardcore band. So
Yeah.
you know, say what you want, they're a hardcore band.
Yeah.
I think the other thing on that too, I was thinking about this recently, is like there was a period when I was growing up where like mixed bills were way more common.
Yeah.
And everyone would be there and you'd be like, oh yeah, like this band not, because there's so many definitions of like what a hardcore band is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and so there was this thing where like bands would play together because they were all mates. They might sonically all sound a bit different, but they're all hardcore kids.
Yeah.
And then at some point, for me at least, I feel like the more melodic stuff kind of shot off on its own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it became very
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah, it became very separate, which is weird to me because like I grew up watching mixed bill shows in Newey, like
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
station, and America I think has done a bit of a better job, and obviously just because they're bigger,
Yeah.
have kind of been like, well, yeah, they might not sound the same, but they're all hardcore kids, and there's this similar ethos and like similar fan base, and like
Yeah,
you know, you go
absolutely.
to one of those American fests, and there's such a varied lineup of like,
Yeah.
you know, you see like an Anxious play, and then you see like God's Hate play,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you sort of like, that's crazy,
Yeah, yeah, that's psycho, yeah.
but it's so good.
Yeah, and it's like, well, everyone listens to all of it, you know, for the most part anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I remember years ago when the kind of like, I guess the whole Poison City thing popped
Sure,
up and
yeah.
it just became a complete offshoot. And it was like, oh, the people are still going to both, but the shows are just not mixed.
Yeah.
It was kind of a weird period, or it worked for that time, but
Yeah, and it also started out being mixed in too, because
Yeah.
like not even that, like, but when we did some of the stuff with it, it was
Yeah.
like, you know, I mean, I Exist and Extortion both played a Poison City Weekender, which is like funny to think about now
Yeah.
as to where that label.
well, that was kind of like my favorite time of it, because it was like, oh, that was our big fest for a little
yeah,
bit there.
yeah.
yeah,
Because hardcore had kind of, that festival had
Yeah, had gone.
happened,
It
and-
yeah. But I mean, even like I just think now the positive is that you can have those kind of mixed things again, and they don't have to fall under a banner. Like it doesn't have to belong to a record label or belong to like a genre. It can just be like, you know, Speed doing a Christmas show, or it can be someone doing a record launch, or like Jake putting that Kingpin Fest thing on. Like it's just, oh, these are all bands I like. That's the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not, you know, and I would say like that one particularly was like incredibly mixed to have like same thing, you know, have lots of different bands. And then, I mean, I think same thing myself, like growing up in Canberra, like every show was a mixed bill. Like there was not enough bands.
Enough bands to
Like,
do a strictly HC
yeah,
show. or
exactly.
Like it's like
And-
just mates.
And I think like now in Canberra, like they're at a point where they kind of can do that. Like they can do some very straight up, you know, versions of it. But even like, I think, you know, again, I think, you know, Matto and people like him and Candace and stuff that are booking these kinds of things now are thinking about it from that lens of like, well, I mean, the other benefit too is like if you put all the bands on it, then you're bringing all the different people that like all those different bands.
Yeah,
You're not just
exactly.
bringing that one group and all their friends. You're bringing 5 groups and all their friends, you know?
Which, I think has been very thoughtful on this tour because there's been a good mix. Like, there's been straight up hardcore bands, like, you know, Disdain last night.
Yeah.
And then, for example,
a beatdown band last night. The night before in Canberra.
Born to Lose. Actually, let's talk about Canberra for just a second because I don't want to get too far away from that. 2 things I want to say. Born to Lose, shout outs to them. They had a thing on the merch stand. I've never seen this before, right? It was a sign and it said, if you buy any merch from any touring band, we'll give you $5 off our piece of merch.
That rocks.
I thought it was so sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're on your hometown.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to them. That was really cool. And also just on the Canberra thing in general, I want to shout out Murat, Uzi's Akimbo, putting on the For the Kids things. Like, that's some of the coolest shit I've seen in years. Like, a bunch of kids in some property that someone's mum and dad's probably like all playing shows in like a shed, basically.
Yeah.
And like people from Sydney, like bands, you know, people our age going down and being like, we're going to go play an all ages hardcore show in a shed.
Yeah.
Like, blows the mind. Like, it's just so
dude.
cool. Like, and he's, you know, I can't remember how old he is. He's like in his early 20s, but
it seems like that scene is like really getting around. We mentioned Knuckle Dragger mentioned it on their episode. We put a little clip of it.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most like shared clips we've ever had.
Because
by
all
that
those
younger
kids
crew,
were just like sharing that reel.
like tagging each other and stuff. Like,
That's fucking awesome.
They put on so hard for each other. Like,
Yeah.
they really do. And they're really about their shit. And fuck, I got them. Thantu Thika are such a good band.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Watching them for the first time, I was like, the vibe was electric. Like, it was crazy watching them. Like, watching Caleb slapping the bass and just going hard and the pick calls and stuff. And I'm like, and I think, you know, actually speaking to them as well, like Leak Spin really put them on. Like, I think he was their
teacher. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right? Like, it's so sick to me that to see it get passed down in that way.
Oh, man. And for me, it was like, so like obviously all of my older friends had been like, you got to check this shit out. Like, it's crazy. They're doing everything. And then, you know, like the Bloodmouth guys were like, they played one of those shows and were like, it was the sickest thing in the world.
It's crazy.
And then playing those shows there with, you know, with Mauler and Phantoms and stuff, we did those Aglo did those couple shows with them. And that show in Newey, and they opened with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
And like, I think I've already said this on the podcast, but like I was standing at the merch desk talking to somebody and they started playing it and I just turned around and and then from like in the crowd, I just saw Lee's head pop up and just like look for me. And then he was like, "Ah!" And I kind of just like ran from the merch desk to watch them play Ozzy Osbourne. And then afterwards, I mean, again, like Aglo then went to play after them. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to top an Ozzy Osbourne cover for one. But then I went up and they were like, I was like punishing them like, oh man, fucking Ozzy Osbourne. And they were like, oh, we love Oasis. And I was like, that's cool. Ozzy Osbourne cover, like, I really like, and then like a minute later, I was like, oh, sorry, I shouldn't have like dismissed you trying to talk to me. But then they're like, do you want us to leave the ACT flag up? I was like, absolutely, leave the ACT flag up. Awesome. Now I'm back, baby.
Dude, I find this all the time with the younger kids now because I think they don't realize sometimes how much more hyped I am on their shit than they are
big
hyped
time
on my shit. And like, as you said, like I'm the one punishing them.
Yeah.
Like Feel the Pain all the time. Shouts Feel the Pain for Newcastle. But like all their CT bands, like I'm always just saying like, do you know how good you guys are?
Yeah.
And also how on your shit you are about like how you do things. We were nowhere near that when we were your age. Like we had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Like, the thought of making a music video in Downside at 19, it's like, no, we're getting the train down to Wyong Youth Centre to play 15 people or whatever. And you're like putting out a music video and you've got 100,000 streams and like you're heavy as fuck. And like, and they're like, oh yeah, but like, you know, Downside, like this, that. I'm like, no. Please don't even compare. Like it doesn't make sense. So like seeing the kids like carrying it on in that way. And also like the Secret World as well. Like I know those kids love hard and heavy stuff, but they also support everything within the scene. You know what I mean? They're up the front singing along. They listen to everything. They're like so tapped in and really give a shit about carrying the torch.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I can't speak enough about it, how happy it makes me.
Oh, dude.
In my 30s, you know?
And but like even then at that Kingpin thing, a bunch of the Thantu guys were at that too. And fucking hell, I was like dragging them up to people being like, these kids can't be like I felt like an actual drunk dad, like to these young straight edge guys being like, come over here, I got to introduce you to a 40-year-old. Like,
yeah, I remember they came in at a show in Sydney. I think it was the Chip Up, maybe it's a speed thing. And a bunch of straight edge guys were all in the pokies, but they weren't playing the pokies. They were just chilling in there. And then I sort of walk in and I'm like,
Free coffee.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I walk in and I like put my money in and they're like, oh, you're playing these things? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, fuck, like, should I just pull this money out? And I won $400. And all these like straight edge kids like, yeah. And I was like, do not do this. Yeah. You're all good.
This is a one-off.
I know. Like, I'm sitting here smoking a cig, having a beer. You keep doing your shit. You don't want this lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm trapped in this. You can avoid it.
Yeah, you can just play the sickest sets ever and continue on not being in the pokies. You know what I mean? So.
Dope. Well, I guess other than so record coming out soon. When's the record out?
November 15, I'm pretty sure.
Dope.
Let me double.
Kelly, pull that up.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, Kelly, pull that up.
Yeah.
November 15, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 7-inch.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. That'll be sick. Then Speed Christmas.
Speedmas, yeah.
That's what's happening.
That's what they're calling it.
That's what I'm calling it.
I like that.
I think that's what it. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like
Surely it's sold out by now, right? Got to be close.
potentially. Kelly, pull that up.
Can you pull that up, Kelly?
You're sitting here you got one reason to be here.
He's
Look
definitely.
how slow he's searching.
Dude, you know for sure his shit's been like, you're out of storage. iOS out of date.
Kelly does have the oldest iPhone that I've seen a human use in many years, I have to say.
Well, this post from Last Ride Records doesn't say.
Matto!
I think you're right.
15.
Oh, there we go.
Showed my working.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, Speed Christmas will be dope. Catch me on the balcony. Very bummed to find out the hot pie machine has been taken away
R.I.P.
from the Manning bar.
I mean, maybe you could. I'm sure Speed asked, they'd fucking ship it in.
Hit up Villies, get it back in there.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot about Villies recently.
You know,
I don't know why. A lot of pie talk going out in the van. Yeah.
You are going to Adelaide. They got that 24-hour pie shop.
Okay, that's
they
why.
got
we're
fuck
talking
all
about.
else, but they got 24-hour pie
Koyo
shop.
will be stoked.
Where's the Adelaide?
Tickets for Speedmas.
Hey?
Days. Limited tickets.
Limited
Oh,
tickets.
limited
Limited. Okay, so buy them up.
Yeah, buy them up, please.
Catch me on the balcony. Where's the show in Adelaide?
The Crown and Anchor.
Okay,
I've never
tomorrow.
been there
Right?
The place
before. I'm
shut
pretty
down.
excited.
Well,
No,
he's shut
I
down.
think-
I thought it shut down as well, but there's.
Someone must have
binge.
bought it or something.
Yeah.
I think
brought
it
it back.
got saved. Maybe I don't know.
Another
Wait,
a brick raffle.
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't see the
dude.
Save the Crown and Anchor campaign like the tote one.
Did you contribute to that Annandale brick raffle?
No.
Fuck, dude. I just played the show which I'm talking about. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the Annandale. They turned their back on music. So
Yeah, they fucked everyone. So fuck it.
we played this show and we were like saving the Annandale. And I think Josh bought an I Exist brick for $50 or something like that. And then at the show, they gave us drink cards. And the drink cards were black and white pieces of paper. And J-Hat, who was famously straight edge at the time, goes, you could photocopy those. And we were like, we could photocopy these. So we went to Officeworks and we made like 1,000 drink cards. And we're just at the show giving people like wads of drink cards.
Maybe
And then-
you're the ones that sent them out.
well,
of business.
and then like a month later, the Annandale went out of business. We were like, fuck, maybe that night.
You have to wonder at what drink the penny dropped, where they were like,
It didn't.
650 drink cards gone out tonight? How many did we give out?
We were all so pissed. And by the end of the show, it was like a lock-in. Like they like locked the door. Everyone's smoking inside. I think I'll leave a person unnamed, but someone was definitely just smoking a bong at the bar. Like, yeah, we can do this in here now. Like
Is the person in the room with us right now?
no, I don't know. It wasn't you.
I love the international waters feel of a lock-in. Sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You can do anything in
You can do anything in here. But yeah, the that drink card heist was like truly, and the fact that it was John's idea, like that none of us, like we were all just standing there looking at him like, okay, cool, we got a bunch of drink cards, and John was like, you could, and just the level of effort. I think Jake did it, but he like went to Officeworks and bought a white piece of paper to stick them all on and then just like photocopied them through. And then he went to a different place and got them all cut.
Oh, he was keeping everything separate.
Yeah. And he was like, no, I don't want anyone to catch on to like the crime of the century that we're pulling off here.
His drink tickets probably looked better than the real drink tickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was like,
Legit.
had the cutting machine out.
Well,
and shit.
I think at the place that they got him cut, I think he was like, turn the page like a bit crook. So like some of them get cut off at the corners and stuff. So they look like.
That's the mind of a genius.
And then we were like,
I respect that.
we were like, yeah, and now you can use them. Like, don't make them look fresh. So yeah.
So hopefully they got black and white drink cards.
Literally, anytime I get drink cards anywhere, I'm like, how many more can I get out of these? And then I, recently got, again, further bad feedback for the fucking Prince band room, but the drink cards had stamped dates on them. So
That's
I've
a
seen
real
of places
dog
doing
move.
that now.
Yeah.
you can't even bring them back.
Or different colors. That's always a good.
Yeah.
But then you save them and you go, oh, what? Then you have like a little Rolodex of, oh, it's pink now.
Well, I've started building up a thing where if I just have them in my pocket, I just leave them with my keys so that the next time I go to that venue, I just grab the wad and hope for the best. But, we'll see. It'll pay off at some point.
Yeah.
But thanks, venues, for having us.
yeah, we're really
Thanks for giving me a
appreciate it.
place to play. And
Just encouraging them to have other methods of income than alcohol. That's the real plan.
yeah, buy pokies, I guess.
Well, actually, when we were at the Basso the other day in Canberra, they fed us and everything. I felt very looked after there. It was actually sick. Yeah.
Love a free meal.
Free meal goes so hard,
Yeah.
Especially when you're on tour and you just don't want to think about it.
Oh, yeah.
And they just came around like, here's a sheet, and you can just write whatever burger you want on here, and it'll magically appear 10 minutes from now.
That rocks.
Fucking
Sick as
awesome.
hell.
Yeah, it helps.
Well, thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Good
thank
chat.
You very much.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to see you at Speed Miss on the balcony.
See you there. I'll be the one with the drink tickets.
Fuck yeah. Let's hope the Manning Bar still running black and white.
Candace will be very responsible with the drink tickets,
Yeah, sorry, Candace, we won't do anything.
but we would like as many as possible. Just to be clear.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
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 Bye.